Hey, everybody.
Hello. Happy Tuesday.
What's up, y'all? Welcome to Ourbondlive.
Yes. I'm Wheezy.
And I'm George.
No, we're the Hartmans. We'll get to this later. We're the Hartmans.
Yeah.
Welcome to Ourbondlive. We're here every Tuesday. At 7 p.m. And we are live on multiple platforms today. We are so excited about that. So if you're on YouTube, say something. We'll be able to see your comments. You can the like button or whatever, hearts, Facebook, and Periscope. I think those are the
Twitter.
Yeah. Hey, those are all of them. Do we see someone from YouTube? Okay, good. Good to see y'all. Well, share this video. Share. And so are you ready to... Oh, we have to say, if you just tuning in, we have been married. We're the Hartmans.
We're the Hartmans. We've been married
15, next year will be 16 years.
Yeah.
We have 4 beautiful girls.
Yeah.
And we discuss hot trending topics that deal with just the full circle of life. Marriage, family, children, parenting, all of the above.
And we put our spin on it. We Hardmanize it.
Yes. And we'd like to share with the world just a positive outlook on just life, and hopefully, prayerfully, this can help you.
Yeah, most definitely. So we are going to go ahead and get into it, because a lot of times when we're talking, the time goes by so fast that we don't realize how, when the time is about to end, that hour. So we're only going to be on for an hour. So
1 hour, from 7 to 8. So today the topic is, who's the boss?
Who's the boss?
Who's the boss? Let's put up their picture. So this topic was inspired by Fantasia and her husband Kendall. Yeah. And so the reason why we have on George and Wheezy, we are showing our age. I'm 43.
I'm 42.
Yes.
Married a cougar.
Yes. I like them young. And so we used to watch the Jeffersons growing up, and like or comment or whatever if you used to watch the Jeffersons too. But if you remember the Jeffersons, he was very chauvinistic.
Yeah. He thought he knew everything.
I mean,
he made a good life for himself. They was living up in a high rise.
Penthouse. Yeah.
They was on the east side.
Yes, so this is why we wore the shirts tonight. But every week it's different.
It's something different. Yeah.
Okay, so we're gonna start with this couple.
Set us up.
So I'll set it up quickly because I do my research.
She's the setup lady and not just come in, for the kill.
And he finishes it.
Yeah.
But recently, Fantasia, we know if you don't know who she is, she was the first winner of American Idol.
Yeah.
Back in 2004. Long time ago.
That's been 15 years.
Mm-hmm. And she can sing.
Wow.
She can sing.
Yeah.
She's gone through a lot of hardships, a lot of heartaches, ups and downs. Mm-hmm. But now she's currently married to Kendall. They married in 2015, I believe. And prior to her marriage, she has 2 children.
Yeah.
So she recently went on this radio show called Breakfast Club.
Yeah.
They're in New York, aren't they?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And she was talking about the role of the husband being the head of household.
Yeah.
So we're going to play that now.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? We need more men to stand up and lead the way. Most women are trying to be the leader. That's why you can't find a man. You can't be the king in the house. Fall back and be the queen and let your man lead the way. So I salute you for that.
What does that mean? You can't be a leader? Because a lot of women look at it like, no, I can lead in my household. I can do this in my household. What does that mean?
That's not how it's supposed to be. Now
that's why we bump heads, and I feel like it's a generational thing. And we can go real deep on that, and I don't need to start that, but it's a generational curse.
And how society have placed our men. And women have to stand up and be the mother and the father and the provider. And so then now you are so bad, and so you can't be told nothing, that when the right man come, you lose them because you're trying to be the man. I was going to say man. Can we be equal? Of course. But at the end of the day, I'm the neck, my man's the head. So he can't make moves without his wife. You know what I mean? It all works together. But you can't be the head of the house. You got to let the man be the head of the house. But it's a generational thing, and it's what we've been taught. Stand up, be strong, be the, you know what I mean? And a dude come and you, everything about you is like a man.
Sometimes we have no choice, though.
But that's what I was saying. It's a generational thing, and that's what society has. They do that on purpose.
So you think women have to fall back a little for their man? Is that what you think?
You have to learn how to submit. You can still be a queen. Queen plays a part. The king needs his queen.
All right.
Okay. She said a lot.
A whole lot.
She said a lot. So that video was about a minute and a half, and soon we're going to listen to her husband's response to that. But let's just talk about this real quick.
All right.
So she's been getting a lot of backlash. That's why her husband did a video to defend her position.
Yeah.
But she's been getting a lot of backlash about that, a lot of commentary. And, you know, like I said, I'm only 43 years old. By no means do I know everything.
Yeah.
But over my 43 years of living, I have realized that usually those that are agitated or irritated with that women have to submit to their man usually fall into like 4 different categories.
Okay.
Now,
give it to us.
Okay. Now, first of all, there's a difference. We will discuss this a little later. But submitting to a man and submitting to a husband, totally different things. Totally different things.
Yeah.
But we'll delve into that later, right?
Yeah.
So usually the people that are irritated with that statement of submitting it could be single women. That's the first category. Single women that, not all single women, but single women that make the statement usually a lot. I'm fine by myself. I don't need a man.
Yeah.
Okay. Not all single women, but
not all single women.
Single women that constantly are, I'm fine by myself. You know, I do well by myself. You know, I don't need a man. Who I'm gonna submit to, because you know, I've built a lot on my own. Okay. Yeah. Then the next category,
and I'll just say that there's nothing wrong with building stuff on your own, but you still have to quantify it or categorize it in a certain way. Go ahead.
Right.
Next.
Okay.
Number 2.
Right. See, he's jumping the gun. I'm just giving the summary.
Go ahead.
Then you got the second type that they are dating. Women that are dating, but there's no commitment yet.
Yeah.
You have the you know, you might be in the relationship, shacking, or, you know, just casually dating, but there's no real commitment. Okay?
Yeah. Yeah.
The third type might be a married woman that is unhappily married. Okay.
Gotcha.
And then the fourth category might be a divorced woman that is still bitter. Okay.
Gotcha.
Now there are a lot of divorced women that are not bitter.
Yeah.
But it could be a divorced woman that is still bitter.
Yeah.
Usually over the years, I've seen that those are typically the categories that really irritate.
Yeah.
Irritate. Yeah. Okay. So let's now delve into his video.
So we have her video discussion. And then we have his response to the backlash. All right. So
it's about 2.5 minutes, I think.
All right. Check it out.
So here's the issue. Submission is supposed to be a beautiful song and dance between two lovers. What's happened is men have abused that power. Forgive me, they've abused that gift. And we have been misled to think that it's something where it's a dominant spirit and we own every decision, we dictate everything, we rule with an iron fist. First of all, that's not love. What happens is, in my marriage, let me not speak for everybody, my marriage, I submit daily to the Most High. I stay in my scriptures. I continue to feed myself with things that help me build my character, to reshape my perspective that was messed up in the streets and dealing with different propaganda and programming and things like that, so that I can come to my wife from a pure position. So when I do that and she sees me and she witnesses over time that it's an authentic demonstration, her heart is moved and softened and compelled to submit to me. What does that look like? That doesn't mean that I dictate every decision. I don't walk around the house saying what we're going to spend, how we're going to do it. We talk and we build. And I consider everything that's on her heart, her perspective, her position, her philosophy. I'll carefully weave that into my philosophy to figure out what's the best move for this family, keeping all of that in mind. Now, the moment I start to step outside of righteousness and I start to move from a place of emotion instead of analytics, she has every right to snatch that back, because submission is a gift. When she sees me laying at the foot of the Father, she has no reason to withhold that from me. The problem is this: men are not found in positions of leadership handling it with integrity. How you gonna lead your wife if you can't balance a checkbook? If you don't know what's going on in the stock market? You don't have a sound understanding of the finances. You can't create a budget. You don't understand what's going on in the educational system in your community that's impacting your kids. In order to lead, you got to be so far ahead of your family that by the time they come to you with a situation or a problem, you've already dived into it, done your due diligence so that you can give leadership. You don't lead from your genitals. You lead from a gentle place of understanding. And the more she trusts, the more she can let go of things that she don't have to deal with and focus on the things that edify her. It ain't about money. We both hustlers. It's not about a dollar for dollar thing, because we're one unit. If I fall, she falls. If she falls, I fall. Submission is solely about trust.
All right. Y'all got that? So he responds to, I guess, the negative criticism that Fantasia has been getting when she went on the Breakfast Club and she was interviewed by the Breakfast Club. So how do you feel about that?
Kudos to him. I thought that it was very well stated. It was so packed with a lot of information. But let me also say this: there's really no but to that. It was very well said.
Very well said.
And what the points from that was that we're able to submit when we see that you are leading us down the right path. And so now there's just another, let's look at this from a different perspective. What about the man that is not to that place yet? Because, I mean, just be honest, in our relationship, we've been together 15 years.
But there was at that point,
you have to evolve to that point. And I had to evolve to Fantasia's wanting to fall back. I mean, because let's be real. I was when I was single before we met. Of course, you're single before you met. Right?
Of course.
I already had purchased.
I hope so.
I wasn't married. I was single.
But she was single.
I was single. I already had my own house. I already had a couple of degrees under my belt. I was doing well in my career, and so coming to me, being head of the household, it took some adjustment. It took and this is the part that I love. When God puts you with the person that you're supposed to marry, you're supposed to be one, right? They're supposed to bring out the things in you to help grow you, to help nurture you, to help and push you into the purpose that God has for you. That's why you're not supposed to be tangled up with somebody that can mess up your destiny. But that's another discussion. But before we got to the table, I felt I was Ebony, so intellectual. I was doing everything in here, but he taught me how to be Ebony in here, in my heart. And so I had to submit to that. I had to be open to that. And now it's like in our marriage now and in our relationship, I'm able to be a total package, intellectually, my heart, feelings, emotions. It's like it all came together.
I had to soften her up because she was hard. And I think at the same time, there were so many experiences that we both had. But I think they they coincided with each other. But how I had to grow was I had to grow to operate in authority. I think I showed her, even though our circumstances, if y'all understand our story, we got married, and I was unemployed when we got married. So that's the first thing. I didn't even have a job when we got married. However, she never paid for anything the whole time that we went out on dates or anything like that, because I even paid some of her cell phone bill and other stuff.
Yeah, he did.
But here was the thing. The thing was that I wanted to lead from a place of provision. I wanted to lead from a place of just, even though I didn't have everything together, but I wanted her to show that I would still be able to take care of her in spite of some of the insufficiencies that was going on in my life at that time. So I think from that perspective, even though we still both evolved throughout these 15 years to get to the place where we are now, there were still some things that I had to learn and some things that she had to learn that was going to help us be the husband and wife that we are today. No person who starts off in a relationship or in a marriage are the person that they're going to be when their marriage gets to a level of maturity. They're all growing, right, and they're all developing. So what happens is, in the beginning stages, God puts you together to be able to address each other in such a way to where y'all are learning each other, growing on each other, studying each other, building each other, encouraging each other, sometimes having fights with each other in the midst of all of that. But that is a part of the growth and progression. And what happens is the submission, and I don't know if I'm getting ahead of myself, but one of the things that he was saying that he has to be in the Word, he has to be at the feet of the Father in such a way that he knows that if he does or make a decision, it's going to put her best interest at heart. So she also got to know that you don't submit to somebody who's not submitted.
Right.
Did you hear what I just said?
Yeah.
You do not submit to somebody who is not submitted.
That's like the blind leading the blind.
Yeah. So
right.
Submission has to take place from the head's standpoint also, and from the one who submits to the head has to know that the head is submitted to God.
And I saw that. Even though he wasn't perfect, I wasn't perfect.
No, yeah.
But I saw he had a heart for God. And I respected him so much so and trusted God enough. I said, okay, Lord, you the one that brought him to me. Okay, you the one that brought him to me. So I trust you enough to talk to him, to guide him, so that he can lead this family. Like, what do we know? We didn't know nothing about no marriage.
Yeah, we didn't.
There was there's a whole bunch of books out there, but there's nothing. And then examples of marriage. We didn't see a lot of the examples that we were trying to
live. Yeah. So there were still some areas of where from a perspective that we were still trying to see something that had not been fully emulated in our lives. And that's being transparent. Yeah. We saw marriages, and we saw people who were together, and we saw, aspects of communication that we thought were dysfunctional to us. Mm-hmm. So, in other words, we had to really create our own identity or what our marriage was going to look like.
Our own fingerprint.
Yeah, our own fingerprint. Because what we wanted, we didn't see. And it wasn't a knock on some of the other marriages and some of the other relationships that we saw, but we wanted to create something that was authentic to us and what we felt was even guided from a biblical place. And then because there's a lot of marriages that are out there that are stereotypical marriages, but they don't have a truly biblical foundation.
And I want it to be fulfilled.
Yeah,
period.
Yeah. You don't want to just coexist with
I didn't want to be
your spouse.
Yeah, I didn't want to be a trophy wife.
Yeah.
I didn't want to just we go to different events. We just do different things.
We look good together, but we don't have fun together.
No, I wanted when I come home, nobody know what we doing.
Yeah.
We are having a blast, and just growing together. because we trying to be together for 75 years.
Yeah. That was our goal. Get to know, at least 75.
Yeah, I gotta get to know him. You know. So I want there. So we try to make and are still trying to make many memories, and then in doing that, you're growing and understanding each other.
Yeah.
It could be something, and we gotta stop talking soon because we have 3 questions.
We got 3 questions that we want to pose to our audience.
Yeah, but growing together too. Let's just say you're trying to plan a date. You might get into an argument. Why are you trying to plan that date? But you're growing and realize he might not like going to that place, or we might not. It could, and
that might have been the area that was causing some friction.
Grow patience, and all of that stuff. So, okay, y'all all right? Yeah. I know we said a lot.
We said a lot.
We said a lot. We see you on Facebook and on YouTube. Okay, so we're gonna start with our first question.
All right.
Who's gonna read it?
You read it.
I always gotta go first. I went first with.
Go ahead. Read the question.
Okay. First question: how can you trust if they can lead you right?
And this is from the woman's perspective.
So then I gotta go first again?
Mm-hmm. How can you trust if they can lead you right? So the question is, who's the head? All right, go ahead.
I'm not going to answer that yet. I'm not going to answer
the... All right, go ahead, answer the first question.
Yeah, I'm
How
not going to answer
trust that they can lead you right?
Who's the head, who's the boss.
Yeah.
We answer that at the end.
All right. So how can you trust that they can lead you right?
For me,
for you.
This is Ebony's view on it, okay? The only way that I can trust if they can lead me the right way is through their actions.
Gotcha.
Period. I am not one of those that does lip service. Because you can say so many wonderful, and I'm not one of those that are swept off of my feet by words.
Yeah.
It has to be actions. I only trust what you do.
Yeah.
Now, over time, if you are consistent with what you're doing, then if you say you're going to do something, I trust it.
Yeah.
And then it evolves into bigger things. Like Kendall, when he was saying about, knowing your community, knowing the stock market, and
knowing how to do a budget.
The budget. Everybody might not be there.
Yeah. Everybody might not be there.
But if you're evolving together and hey, they trying.
Yeah. They're trying to do something.
Yeah. They have a vision. Like, I see that, babe, this is where I see us. And this is what I want to do. Like, they're like walking that thing out and talking and walking it.
Yeah.
Walk it out.
Walk it like I talk it.
But anyway, go ahead. They're like walking it out, and talking it out, and
living it,
Thank you, and living it, and they're wanting to take you with them.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because sometimes you can have some marriages where you're like 2 ships passing by.
2 individuals.
And
that's
they
not
got
how
a plan.
Marriage is supposed to be.
They got one, you got one.
Yeah.
Did that go in your... I'm sorry.
No,
it looked like that one. They got a plan, you got a plan.
Yeah.
And so that's just not going to work.
That's not going to work.
Yeah.
And how it works is this. From a perspective of how relationships are going to grow together, each entity or each individual in the marriage, when you come together, you know that you can't make any decision on your own, that every decision that you make directly or indirectly affects your spouse and everybody that's involved with your family, whether that's a blended family or you have children or they are biological children. Every decision that you make in a marriage, it directly and indirectly affects the outcome of how you're going to see or how your experience is going to be. And so how can you trust that they can lead you right? I would say this, even though I'm not a woman, but I would say, first of all, he has to have something that he's working towards. There has to be a mission, because you can't submit if the man doesn't have a mission. So submission means to be under a mission. And if you're going to be under a mission, then you're going to submit to the mission that your husband has. Now, you don't lose yourself in the process because you still are working on you and you're still growing you. But your mission should also coincide with his mission to be able to develop a ultimate mission for this family. And so sometimes I think a lot of times, too, the women think that they become nothing. And that all they do is just whatever he wants, and that's it. No, I think if a husband loves his wife, he's going to want to see his wife become the best that she could possibly be. Otherwise, he's being someone who's trying to subdue his wife,
being like George.
He don't want he don't want her to have no word. He want her to be home barefoot and pregnant. He don't want her to have any job or anything like that. So I think from a standpoint of a husband being the head, he has to also know that his wife has a life, and her life also needs to be flourished, cultivated, nourished, cherished. It also needs to be, encouraged that she could be the best, because one of the worst things that can happen is a wife just become invisible in the relationship.
That's a good one. And oftentimes that happens.
Yeah.
And I think early on, what we said, we have 4 kids, and my God, we had 4 kids in 5 years.
Yeah.
I was always pregnant.
She was always pregnant the first.
Pregnant. And so that takes a lot. Y'all know, y'all moms out there, that takes a lot out of your body.
Yeah.
And oftentimes as moms, we lose ourselves.
Yeah.
And so, and you lose your voice.
Yeah.
And us as wives and women need to always remember to continue to grow yourselves, because we got our little queens and kings that are looking up at us too.
Looking at everything we portray.
That we do. And they need to see not only a mom that was there, but a mom that was growing and evolving.
Yeah.
So that they know too. They see, hey, whenever you have a family, that doesn't mean you just stop at life.
Yeah.
You have a family, you can do even more because there's 2 of you.
Yeah.
That should be the goal. We'll be
able to multiply our impact.
Basically,
our impact would be so much
greater. Not just one person doing it.
Our impact,
both of us.
Yeah, our impact would be so much greater because both of us are goal oriented and both of us have a vision in mind. But I like what he said. He said, as a husband or as the head, you should be so far ahead of what's happening to where issues come up, you've been thinking about it and you've come up with some level of solution to the problem. One of the things that I think that I'm beginning to do even more is really try to survey areas of where there could be some conflict or problem. I'm still learning, y'all. But in this process is if I can realize or be able to go far ahead and be able to know that this could be a potential stumbling block for our relationship, then I know how to handle it when it does come, or I can try to prevent it from happening. Right. But here's the thing, and then that means you got to study your spouse. That means you have to study your children. That means you have to study your surroundings and really be able to survey every area of your life. And I think too, you also have to take in consideration some of the ideas and some of the goals and some of the perspectives that your wife has, so that when the decision is being made, the decision is being made with all of the information that has been given.
And I think you said something, but you kept going. Going.
Go ahead.
When you said survey, you survey the land. You survey the wife. You survey the household. Things like that. Women, I just want to add something in. We need to listen to them when they survey the land. If your husband is seeing that you are constantly overwhelmed, you're constantly tired, you're starting to have health issues because you're trying to do too much. Always, you know, us women, we wear about how many hats? So many. You mom, you cheerleader, you captain of everybody. Like, you know, you do the schoolwork. You know, you're cooking. You're career woman. You know, you're in the community doing stuff. You can have your own business. We do all of that, and if they see that it's a struggle for you, we need to take heed to that and maybe talk about it to where there's a different approach to it, or maybe they can help with some of it.
Yeah,
but,
I was about to say that.
But when they're surveying the land, they're looking at their other half struggling.
Yeah.
And then too, you said you were saying the opposite of that. Whenever you are, what did you say? You say when the man is, y'all need to listen whenever we see something.
Take under consideration exactly what ideas or what suggestions that go along with this process. I think we need to also understand the role of the wife in the marriage. She is called the helpmate or the helpmeet. The helpmate actually helps the situation become better.
Right.
And so what that does, she is someone who comes alongside. I call my wife my Holy Spirit. And when I say that, she helps bring things back to my remembrance. I know I have the Holy Spirit internally, but I also have, from a family perspective, my wife as my helpmate. And she helps me do a lot of things. In her eyes, she's very keen and very discerning in situations that she might just say a word, and that word might be just enough information for me to know how I'm going to make my decision. She may just add a little nugget here, and I'll be like, that was the very thing I needed for me to actually make the decision that I need to make. So she's very discerning and very wise, and so she helps me. Now, it's not that I don't have knowledge, because all of the things that I'm coming to the table is with knowledge, but with her assistance, it helps me make even much more of an informed decision. Have you heard of anything called synergy? Synergy means that two of us can now see more than I could see by myself.
That's good.
And so by us putting our heads together and by us being able to see things that we could not see, there may be some blind spots that I may have that she wants to help me out with. And when she gives me that area of being able to survey some things too, she surveys just as well as I survey. And when I survey the land, I'm looking at it from a perspective on how I can lead this family. When she surveys the land on how she can help my husband lead this family. Do y'all hear what I'm saying? I lead the family, but God helps her to help me lead this family. So when that statement is made, it's made from a standpoint of she wants to see me be my best person, but I also want to be the best person so I can provide, I can care, and I can lead this family to green pastures. And that has to be the biggest thing. But we work and we submit to each other. And that if we go biblical, if you go to Ephesians chapter 5, it talks about submitting to one another too as well. So there has to be some level of submission to each other, because I got to be able to submit to hear some of the wisdom that she has to be able to take it into consideration when I make a decision on anything.
And you know, I call him my calm. Like he says, I'm his Holy Spirit. I call him my calm. Ladies, I always say this analogy. I will use this example even when we're in our marriage ministries and stuff like that, our marriage sessions. Like, have you ever just asked a man sometimes, you know, like, hey, what are you thinking? And they say, nothing. Believe them. They're really not thinking about anything. Mm-hmm. I wish I could get to that place in my life. Yeah. There's always, even when I'm asleep, I was tired when I woke up this morning. I had so much on my mind. Yeah. On my mind. And he could just be sitting there. I'm like, chilling. What you doing?
Nothing.
Like
my mind is totally blank. I'm just letting
blank. So sometimes when, you got 4 kids, I'm still a career woman and I'm working and they're in activities and things like that. I just need him sometimes to say a word or say, okay, sit down. I got dinner.
Yeah.
I got dinner, or sit down. I'm going to take the girls, or, just
whatever.
To provide just a calm.
Yeah.
So I can get myself together. Yeah. So we that's how we should balance.
All right. And I want y'all to notice something. Look at my shoulders. If y'all looking at the picture, my shoulders are broader than her shoulders. That means I'm able to handle more than she can handle.
They better be, because I don't want me with no big
shoulders.
Well,
I can handle more than you can handle.
I know you can, baby. I know you can.
So just the width of my shoulders means that I'm able to function and handle more than she can handle.
I wasn't built for that.
She wasn't built for that.
And I stay in my lane. I love it.
Matter of fact, when she came, from a biblical standpoint, when Eve was created, everything had already been established before she came on the scene. And that means that I provided an environment that she can come in that's conducive for her to flourish. And if that's the case, then she'll be able to flourish and function how she needs to flourish and function, because the environment has been created.
Like the flower that I am.
Yes.
Yeah,
I gotta let her bloom.
Yes. Just like, okay, second question. Any question? Y'all quiet?
Y'all quiet.
I see. Actually, all the comments are saying amen. Thank you, Pastor. Yes. I mean, that's all they. So all the comments are saying that.
Yeah.
So it's okay. We're gonna move to the second one.
All right. So second question.
You read it, because
what happens when you disagree on the final decision? What happens when you disagree on the final decision? All right, so we want to get your comments. So I want y'all to comment. We want y'all to comment to even allow y'all to be a part of this dialogue. What happens when you disagree on the final decision?
So leave the question up.
Yeah.
And basically, if you don't know what that means, meaning the final decision on whatever y'all have come to an agreement about or a disagreement about. Like, it's the final decision on what's about to occur, what's going to be done. Yeah. What happens if you disagree on it?
Yeah.
So that's the question. So,
yeah. So we want to see your comments. Please comment so that we can you can share what you're saying, even in a part of this dialogue too as well. All right. So all right, we done.
Okay.
So what happens when you disagree on the final decision?
Y'all still thinking about it?
Mm-hmm. All right, so
no, I'm not going.
You're not going?
No.
I'll go.
And I can
and you'll just dovetail on what I say. All right, so what happens is, I think a sound husband should really take everything into consideration to make a decision that is going to be both beneficial and is going to be a place of commonality between both of us. All right, we just got one. Submit to the head. It works out better. That's
so that's just falling back and just letting. So if there's a disagreement, you're falling back and you're letting the head
lead,
the husband.
All right. So now, I think from my perspective, I love her so much that I want to make a decision that's going to not only benefit me, because this can't be selfish. Matter of fact, submission is given to the head is given authority, not in
dictator,
but in responsibility.
Oh, that's good.
Because the head has been given the charge to be responsible for the overall outcome. So that's just like us as parents. If we're parents and we've been charged to train and raise our children, then we are responsible for how they're now going to be how they're going to be fed, how they're going to be clothed, how they're going to be housed. So that's our responsibility to take care of them. From a marriage perspective, the head is responsible for how this marital relationship takes place. So if there are things that are wrong, I have to really look within myself. I also have to look at the environment to make sure that it is the best environment. So, and that means that there's weight that's put on me that's not put on her, because God has called me to be the head. So if I'm going to be the head, then I have to be responsible for the outcome of this marriage. Not that she doesn't have a part or a role to play in the marriage, but ultimately it starts and ends with me.
And let me add to that. So playing a part in the marriage, we could take this biblical all the way back to Adam and Eve. Adam did not eat the apple initially. She gave it to him, but she's the one that was talking to the enemy, to the snake. She's the one that took it and ate it first. He ate it second. So he did eat it. But I'm just saying, she did that. She started that. But guess who God was looking at?
Yeah.
It was Adam. He was ultimately responsible because he gave the instruction to the head.
And I believe that even in the midst of, if Eve ate the fruit and disobeyed, but Adam did not, he would have still been able to cover her for her mistakes, and they would not have been kicked out of the garden. And so I believe that in the sense, from a husband's perspective, we are to cover our wives in such a way that we protect them even when they make mistakes, and we make mistakes too now. But the responsibility will always be on us because we have been deemed as responsible. We have been deemed as responsible.
We got a comment.
And we have another comment as preach.
I tell you, they just keep on saying okay.
But
it's true though.
But I really feel so the decision making process, to answer the question, is what happens when you disagree on the final decision? Well, I believe that because the head has been given charge for the responsibility, he takes in consideration, I cannot reiterate this enough, he takes in consideration everything that she has said. So when that decision is made, he's not making it without thinking or putting her decision on the table and really looking and surveying and making sure that everything has been expressed. Because one of the biggest things that can happen in a relationship is for a spouse to feel like they are not being heard when things are being expressed. So it really needs to be expressed. Both have to be able to position themselves, but at the same time, a decision has to be made.
So my younger self, to be transparent, earlier on in our marriage, we were still evolving, and I had not gotten to that point yet to all the way fall back. Because I'm smart, I'm intellectual. So if he making a decision and it don't make sense to me, when I was single, something didn't make sense to me. I just do what makes sense. So earlier on, that would bring strife between us because then I would get upset because he made the decision like he said he was, but he didn't do it the way I wanted him to. So that right there, I'm still trying to control the situation, control him, and I was out of line. And it would bring a lot of friction. And then too, he would feel that I wasn't respecting him as a man and as the head of our household. And then, we started having children and stuff like that. Then I think I really started falling back because I was just tired. God will and do something.
Even some physical ailments.
I got sick. So I had to learn, just physically sick. And then you go to postpartum and all that depression and stuff like that. So God had to kind of bring me back down to be like, hold up. Let him lead. So right now, I'm going to say this to answer the question. It should be the head of the household. Now, I don't agree with every decision. That I agree with most of these decisions. I don't agree with all of them, but you know what I do now? I speak my piece. He does hear my voice. I say what I'm feeling in love. Now I ain't all in yelling and all that. I don't do that drama stuff. I don't do that. You know, because a soft answer turns away wrath. Yeah. I'm not going to yell at him. Yeah. And then two, it also says in the Bible that God I am so ad-libbing it, but it's okay for a husband to sit on the top of a rooftop. It is better
for a man to sit on the top of a rooftop
than to be in the house with a cantankerous
corner of a rooftop.
So if God's saying, if you all like that, they can really leave to get some space away from all of that. So I'll voice my opinion, and then y'all, I just pray about it. I'll be like, Lord.
And you know, Dr. Tony Evans said something very, very keen. He said that if your husband as the head is out of line, you just pray and duck.
Yep. Gotta get him.
And God will knock him out.
That it works every time. I don't have to yell. Why I gotta fight?
Matter of fact, God know how to knock us out better than any word that can be said by the spouse. Right. Because what happens even when there's a disagreement, if it's always said, oh, well, you're not listening to me, or you're not, then nagging will not work. Yeah. I promise you, with your husband, nagging will actually push him away than bring him closer to the relationship. So please, for the husband's sake and for your own peace and sanity in the house, do not nag, because what happens, it makes the situation worse, and it exacerbates the situation. So please make sure that you say what you have to say, and you go to pray.
And you go to God. And it's amazing. Sometimes
God knows how to address.
After I've prayed it, next couple of days, He done changed his mind.
And guess what? And God will reveal to me. And she didn't even have to say anything, but God will reveal it to me and be like, you know what? That was kind of like the wrong decision. So you still have the ability to make the most of the situation.
And let me tell you how I respond. I don't say, I told you so.
Man.
I say, really, baby?
Yo, she.
Okay, I think that's,
Sometimes. Let's be honest. Okay.
What time is it?
All right, so it's 7:51. We got one more question. Mm-hmm. All right. So here's the question.
Okay, someone said nicely put. I'm trying to look at these comments.
Is the person who makes the most money technically the head of the family?
Ouch. Ouch.
Is the person who makes the most money, technically the head of the family? All right.
Somebody has to say something about this. I think someone just they posted.
Somebody just said, Doris just said no.
Okay.
All right. So let's see any other comments. All right. So, is the person who makes the most money technically the head of the household? No, it is not. And the reason why is because, especially from the case of when the wife makes more than the husband. And a lot of times we see the manipulation of the finances come to a place of where it causes separation within the marriage. And this is serious because one of the biggest ways divorce happens in society is either infidelity or finances. And that makes it so much more difficult, especially if the person who feels like they make the money, they rule a house, because without my pockets, then the house won't be like it needs to be. So if I'm contributing more, then I should have more say-so. As a woman, that becomes the worst thing that you could possibly do. Not only do you emasculate your husband by saying something like that, but what happens too at the same time, you now try to dominate him from a manipulation, saying that my money is the very thing that allows me to control you. And my money, because I make the most money, or I may be able to take care of or more of the bills or anything like that, then I will dangle this money over your head to show you who's the boss.
And I see that. I have seen that in relationships, and I still see that in relationships. And there's no peace with that. I know the Bible says that the love of money is the root of all evil, and that's like kind of a part of that. Yeah. I would say that the way this society is, different careers, your husband could have gone to trade school or
whatever,
have
whatever,
a few degrees, and they still make less than you. How a good compromise with that is you make sure, like, there are certain bills that they pay, and if they're sticking to that agreement, like if all they can afford to pay are the car payments, and maybe all of the utilities, okay, you pay the mortgage and you pay like the other debts and stuff like that. You have to work together as a team, and then you praise them and thank them, because think about it. That's less money out of your pocket, even though you might make more than them. The fact that they're contributing should never ever go unnoticed. Never ever go unnoticed. Because as soon as they feel low and you're using money to control them and emasculate them, that's when other temptations, you're automatically opening the door for the devil to come into your marriage. Easily. He just easily can walk in. And he will bring people to your spouse that will lift them up and encourage them and treat them
with the level of respect that they feel like they deserve.
Not that that's an excuse.
No, even though they may be doing it from the wrong motivation. But they might be jealous of the wife or envious of the wife, and so they want to come on the back end and try to make the husband feel, a certain way that I'm doing something that she can't do, or vice versa. He might be wanting to dangle some money in the wife's face to make her feel like, yo, I could take care of you. But you never know. There may be some strings attached to what they're trying to do. So I was about to say one thing, and I think it slipped my mind. But anyway,
I can say something until you remember. Ahead. I know. I have person that I know. She's a surgeon. Makes very well, probably close to it's about between $400,000 and $500,000, a little over $500,000. Her husband makes about $100,000 a year. $100,000 is not chump change, right? But the way that they have it is that, with being a surgeon and stuff, you have like crazy schedules and all that stuff like that. Of course, bills are paid. She treats him like the man. He's, head of the household. But when she comes home, sometimes he'll have like bath water ready, have a meal prepared. Like the house is a home. Yeah. And so he feels, she respects him so much so that he loves on her and respects her and respects her position.
Yeah. It's a mutual thing. It has to be mutual. The respect has to be given on both sides. The husband has to respect the wife, and the wife has to respect our husband. And so
did you think about where you?
It came in, and then I think it left, and it was a significant point too. But I might have to write it down, and we might have to cover it on next week. We have some more comments. He is the head, whether he makes more money or not. Money is just a resource, not power.
That's good.
And I think that thanks Stars for those comments. And that it kind of was coming from that vein of a resource. When you see money as a resource and not the source of the relationship, it can be brought in and it becomes a part of the total pot that you all have together. So really there's no separation when it comes to finance. Now there may be separated ways on which you may want to have some private money where you could be able to do something for your spouse without them knowing. But of course, or for yourself without them knowing. Yeah. But at the same time, there has to be some level of understanding that whatever comes in this house, it is a part of this house, and it helps the overall family becomes the best that it could possibly be. All right?
So to answer the question that we had said when we were advertising for tonight, who's the boss?
Who's the boss?
We're both bosses.
Exactly.
There you go. Hey, we're both bosses. But who's the head of the household? He is.
And it's not because of me just wanting to be chauvinistic
like George,
or overstanding my spouse, but it's because of the responsibility that God has created the man to have in the household. All right. Listen, it is 8:00 on the dot.
She's saying this.
Our production assistant.
Go ahead, girl. She said 0 minutes.
She's giving us our cues that we have made it to 8:00. So
did y'all enjoy this?
We hope you enjoyed it.
If y'all enjoyed, comment and say yes, like.
And don't forget to share this with as many people as possible.
And so too, I wanted to add, if you like these type of conversations with marriage, if you're married and engaged, we have intimate couple sessions. We don't have the flyer for next month, but the next time we'll meet is the second Friday in October 11th, the second Friday in October, and so we have intimate sessions. We didn't have to do that. We have intimate sessions to where we delve even further, and you're able to be in a safe environment and just get wisdom nuggets, and we share it with other couples, and what happens in there stays in there. Yeah. You don't see my wheezy.
So come out.
So we'll be here next Tuesday. 7 p.m.
And on the second Friday of October will be our intimate.
Next week we'll have a flyer. Yeah, okay, our production
intimate couple sessions.
She keep telling us, all right, girl, we hear you. But yeah, so we enjoyed this. I know we did a lot of talking, but hopefully this really touched you, and this has been beneficial. And you've learned some things from it. Yeah, and we just really want to. For you to be blessed. So,
all right.
We love you.
See you next Tuesday.
All right. Good night.
Peace.